Yo, your shit look. Oh, there you go. There you go, kid. There you go. Woo! Atta baby. There we go, Tris. There we go. There he is. Let's get jacked.
Been trying. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you hear me?
I've got a little fancy little doodad, huh?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I got,
1, 2,
wait.
3.
Yeah, wait. Keep talking into that. I gotta test it out for the volumes. Hold on.
Yeah. Test it out. All right.
I'm putting us both at 13.5 decibels. Wait. Yeah. Okay.
Talk to him. Sounds good.
Sounds great, Trist. Now, okay, we're just gonna dive right in. We've taken a sabbatical. There's a lot. Okay, you could take it from here then.
No, go ahead. This is your show.
It's our show. Okay, this is our show.
Yeah.
So the elephant in the room. I think that we've both expressed plenty of our frustrations, right?
Oh, you got that right.
And I mean, not to mention, by the way, we have many elephants in the room, considering a lot of things have happened over the course of when we haven't been recording. Whether March Madness, we got Caitlin Clark things going on. There's trades going on. Stephon Diggs is going to the Texans. Max Holloway looked the best he's ever looked in his career. But all I know is we're in a perfect position to have an episode because so much has happened that I don't think that we can actually cover all this in one episode. But I will say this. We're going to start out with our good friends who are absolute fucking messes, who are hands down. This is not a joke. Hands down, the most unreliable people I think I've ever known. It'd be your own people.
I wouldn't rely on them to pick up my dry cleaning.
Mm-mm.
That's
absolutely not.
My garbage can out. I couldn't do it.
Not only that. That one, okay, first of all, I actually tried again after that whole fiasco, and I was so pissed. But I remember we were in the group, and literally it was a set plan. It was agreed upon. It was done deal. Night happens.
Tomorrow night.
I know. And then the day of, and it's okay, here's the thing. If it happens once in a while, I don't care. You know, oh, hey, I fell asleep. Hey, I got super tired. Shit came up. That happens. I don't give a fuck. It's that it's happened at least 35 times. At least. It's out of this world.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I've come to the realization we can't work with that. You can't work with it. There's nothing you can do with it. There isn't. I mean, what person you know, gets some friends to help him with a project, and they don't show up for it fucking 25 times, and then he's like, yeah, it's fine. It's unbelievable because we're adults now. We're not 16. We're adults, and that's crazy.
Critters history class where the group project is an afterthought because we're playing Skyrim until 1 o'clock.
It's insane.
Yeah. This is business.
It's not something you can work with.
Handle business.
You can't. They're about as useful as a white crayon. Nothing you can do with them. Nothing. That's to say it. And you can't really even work with it. You can't even begin. Because I remember the first night. It's even bonkers that I tried again, and I was just like, hey, I'm open to it again. That first night, I remember because you texted, or I texted, and then you texted like, hey guys, where you at? Once I had seen all that time pass, mine wasn't responded to, yours wasn't responded to. I was so fucking pissed. I'm like, you know what? This just took all the wind out of my sails. I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And it's, and you know what I've done, Tristan, is I've given it some thought. And I'm quite frankly, I'm under the impression that we might have to have a draft. I have a couple people in mind, one of which is Dylan Severson. Talk to him a little bit about it. Yep, Dylan might be down. Because here's the thing. The good news.
10 years ago, we were chasing these guys, these same bozos down for group projects in high school. And now we're chasing them down for business opportunities. And 10 years from now, someone might be trying to chase them down for child support. I I hope they figure it
And
out.
they're not gonna get it.
It's just getting more and more serious.
Yeah.
And
If you look back, we were doing the same shit in high school, chasing them down, trying to figure out where they at, what are they doing.
you can say that again.
It's a problem. It's a real problem. So
The little man, huh, Dylan?
I'm thinking so. And maybe we'll have an honorable guest here and there and make it four sometimes, but maybe we'll make a trio and see how it goes for threes.
Well,
but for now, it's just going to be us until we get anyone that's going to pick their balls off the ground and do something.
Well, we also have to think about getting our subscribers up. You got to think monetization. You got to think maybe who you want to engage with. There's coaches, and you need to figure out the business side. And
coaches, we're the coaches, Coach Dietz and Coach Z.
YouTube coaches, and getting you on, getting brand deals and sponsorships, and these are the sorts of things you need to be thinking out.
Well, I'll tell you what. Jack and I's main, it's starting to pick up some speed here. Starting to pick up some speed.
Let's keep it rolling.
And so in turn, that's going to help us pick up speed. And what we're doing is just going to give us a little more extra boost of extra stuff coming out, because Jack's been working. I don't know if you knew this. Jack's doing some campaign for the dude who's going to be trying to be governor of Washington. He's been gone. He's been nowhere. And so we've been missing episodes. For literally 150 weeks, we probably missed 3 ever. Now we're missing 2 in a row. But he's just so busy, that we're going to have to adapt. And so his cousin. Yeah, his cousin is running the campaign, and Jack, who owns Northwest Bus, he's working on it. So, anyways, that's a long story short there. But enough with the slapdicks. Enough with the negative. Actually, this is also negative what I'm about to say, but it's okay. I'm telling you right now, amidst all the weeks of activities from the NFL, from March Madness, from all that from the UFC, one thing I am selling this week is not. I love Caitlin Clark. I really do. I think she's fucking amazing. I think she's gonna do great things. I am fucking absolutely pissed off for one fucking reason. All of the WNBA players are fucking like trashing her, talking shit, and it's insane because it is the same people that for years have bitched about how the WNBA gets no exposure, which and they're finally getting some light. And maybe this is just women behavior. Maybe they're jealous. I don't know. Then they're talking shit. They're talking shit about her. Not and any type of positive comment they said was brought right after with, but and they're trashing her. Meanwhile, all the NBA guys, all the dudes are loving it. Like, dude, she's amazing. Oh my, this girl's awesome. None of them had just a positive thing to say. None of them. I don't get it. I don't get it.
To your point, for years they've been trying to grow the game so that they're. Did you see her rookie contract?
Yeah.
$70,000 a year for 4 years.
Yeah, pretty sure LeBron makes that in a day.
And so you've got these players for years that have been screaming about wanting more pay, and I get it. When you look at what other sports are making, but you've got to grow the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can't not have viewership and not bring in no revenue, and you claiming you need more money.
Yeah, economically it makes no sense.
Not even a gradual step to growing the game. No, you got
it's a good step too.
From nothing. No, not even a gradual. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a gradual step. You could make the argument like Sabrina Ionescu from. Maybe I'm just biased because of the Ducks, but I felt like she was a gradual step, and
yeah, she was not as big as Caitlin's, but yeah.
But then all of a sudden, boom, an avalanche. One star from Midwest, Iowa, and she transcends the sport. And
absolutely.
She transcended college basketball. She's going to transcend the WNBA. Every game of hers
single-handedly is going to triple in viewership.
It's going to be sold out or move to a much larger arena so that it doesn't completely sell out. She has transcended the game already before she ever steps foot on the court. If you look at all the teams she went to, all of the away opponents were already increasing the arenas that they're going to be playing in before she was even drafted. I mean, honestly, the closest comparison is like Ronda Rousey in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah,
A sport, women's, a sport that no one really was paying attention to, not just the UFC. I mean, like women's UFC. Nobody paying attention to it.
yeah.
All of a sudden comes Ronda Rousey. Boom. She was the highest paid fighter in the UFC, man or woman.
Yeah,
For
she
a
was.
while, for a
Yeah.
couple years. That's how big she was. This reminds me of that. Obviously, Conor McGregor then came and made her look like peanuts with what he brought to the UFC.
Yeah.
But
The $4.2 billion.
but for Caitlyn, so she's got this peanuts salary. WNBA salaries are going to go up. I if not by the end of her first couple years.
Yo, absolutely.
What she's going to bring into the revenue. There's going to be team expansions because of this. They have like 12 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Or something. I mean,
I thought it was like 11 or
there's
10. I thought it was like 10 or.
teams are making the playoffs going 19-21 or something.
Yeah.
Have like a 40-game season.
They're going 500 and they're like, it's insane.
5-10 years from now, the WNBA will not even be. It's like what the NBA was in the 60s, or something like that. When they had 8 teams and whatever, the NBA during the Bill Russell Celtics days, or right before then, Wilt Chamberlain, whatever. And it's kind of on that life cycle. So, and this is what I get in arguments with all our friends, because I'm like, okay, if you don't enjoy it, that's fine, but you don't need to act like no one does or no one can. It's like, whatever. It's growing. Either just tip your cap or shut your mouth.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's completely growing.
I think it's great.
The women's NCAA final did more than the men's. It's fine.
Yeah.
It happens. Obviously, demographics. The guys are obviously still going to watch the men's more. But if there's more, people watching the games,
Everybody wins.
I don't understand the threat.
Yeah.
And especially basketball. It's like I don't watch much basketball to begin with.
Me either, but it's just it's very fucking annoying because also, I mean, the WNBA have held a feat of playing in front of 2,000 people for decades, and then what annoyed me before was all the chicks complaining and saying, "Oh, it's sexist, it's that, it's this." I'm like, first of all, the WNBA is a male subsidized league. We gave you one, and then no one showed up. And it's like, it's simple economics. What your salary is, they're not going to pay you $10 million a year if the league's making 20. Like, right. the NBA has been a billion-dollar industry since the fucking 70s. It's like, of course they're going to be paying their players fucking 20 million, 50 million contracts.
60 million a year.
Yeah, of course. And of course it's getting bigger as it just gets bigger because the business has already been global for how many fucking years? I don't know.
Exactly. They're just earlier in their life cycle because the NBA is a star-driven league, just like the WNBA needs to be, and you finally have someone who stands out from the pack, and so to bring this home with your earlier comment, yeah, all of a sudden the current stars and she's in for a rude awakening. Well, guess what? She's gonna make you a ton more money. So
yeah.
You better start shining your shoes.
Yeah, like every single chick I watch. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple that have good things to say, but I'm saying all the current players. What's that chick's name? Diana what? What's that? Diana, she's whatever her fucking name is. Yeah. And she's like getting interviewed about Caitlin Clark, and she's like she's just saying little digs the entire time. And then she's like, yeah, well, I have one thing to say. Reality's coming. It's easy when you're doing it against a bunch of 18-year-olds. Yeah, reality is coming. It's called Caitlin Clark. She's coming. Yeah. And it's just insane.
Up from 35 in your on your
and the funny thing is like for the longest time, the women have been saying, "Oh, it's just so sexist, so this, so that," but it's the women talking shit about Caitlin Clark, and
around their moneymaker.
It blew my mind. Because all the NBA players love it. All the guys are like, dude, this is amazing seeing a girl do this, have the spotlight.
They've been campaigning for this. They're like,
yes, they have, and it's fucking nuts. And it's just funny that the same people that I've complained for many years, rightfully so, but I'm saying they've complained, and then they have a really big step coming, and then they're sending digs toward that chick. I mean, I'm sure maybe it's because that they've been playing it for so long and it wasn't in their era that it became its peak. I understand maybe that that
They can't grow
frustration.
the game.
But
They finally have this,
yeah,
young girl who's making it happen, and so it's a lot of jealousy in my
and
opinion.
they're
And
threatened. They're threatened. Yeah, and then there's the other chick who went to UConn who was a center.
Brianna Stewart,
Yeah,
or
she's like, well, actually, I don't think you could consider her the goat of college basketball if she never won a championship. I'm like, dude,
when UConn was playing with like 10
I'm like,
women's
I'm
college
like, yeah, and
basketball
UConn's
players.
playing against 5'6" point guards shooting fucking 10%. It's just like, and they won 10 years in a row. So it's like, dude,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Shut up.
Right. Well, and did you just see
What?
she just signed with Nike?
Yeah. By the way, and you know why Caitlin Clark doesn't give a fuck about her salary? She's making millions in sponsorships and shit and brand deals.
She just signed a $10+ million, 8 figures. They said.
Yeah.
So at least 10 million with
Yeah.
Nike. She's getting her own shoe.
Yeah, so she doesn't even give a fuck if the WNBA give her nothing. She doesn't care.
So much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for everyone else. I mean, she's gonna raise the ocean. It's not like it's going to just her. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna be,
everybody's gonna get more exposure because of her.
yes.
And it's
There's
just
gonna be
like,
more games. There's gonna be more teams. They're talking about Nashville getting a team already. I'm like, no, they actually
yeah,
got
there's going to be other people on her team getting brand deals because of the fact a brand deal and Caitlin Clark is so big that player is on her team playing beside her. They know they're going to get just as much exposure, so they're going to be giving brand deals to people on her team just because they're on her fucking team.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what are you fucking mad about?
Right.
What are you mad about?
5-10 years, they're gonna be million. Everyone in the WNBA is gonna be making millions. It's just that's the way.
Like if someone came into the company you work for and said, "Hey, this guy just brought in
Small raises.
yeah, this guy just brought in millions of funding. All your salaries and bonuses are going to be increased year after year after year." Why would you have anything negative to say? It makes zero fucking sense.
You're sitting there at the coffee. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. You know why? It's because they're bitches. That's why they're being bitches. That's it. And this other woman does does this great thing, and they're still talking shit. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
we're
And so
sure-
I hope Caitlin Clark fucks all of them up. That's what I hope.
I hope she starts the first game just launching them.
I know. I hope she pulls up from the logo first play. First play. I swear. And I'm pulling for her. I love Caitlin Clark, dude. She's a dog. I love her.
That's funny.
Anyways, enough of the WNBA shit.
Catch some hands with some of our friends. They make it very clear they're not interested in women's basketball.
I mean, I wouldn't say I watch it either, like especially the WNBA, but like women's college I've always kind of watched with the guys and checked back. But like everyone else, I definitely watched more this year, like every other person. And so
Rose is a stud too.
Yeah. yeah, and
she'll be-
it's pretty crazy. I mean, I definitely watched it more, and I'm not saying I'm gonna sit up and watch WNBA games, but I'm saying it's pretty cool to see a group of or a league that's struggled for many years numbers wise and this and that just kind of even out and kind of get some exposure. That's pretty cool for sports. I mean, what the fuck? If you like sports, why does that fucking matter? Like, I don't understand.
I just we have so many problems in the world right now and in our country, and it's like you're gonna not enjoy just superstardom on a new kind of new global scale that the sport.
And it's just cool to watch. Because
really?
because stories like that only come around once in a blue moon, and it's really cool when it happens. It's just like
Wholesome, yeah. When stars transcend the game, it's just I if think about how many people became golf fans that would have never watched golf
because
of
Tiger.
something what Tiger Woods was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
And it's
so-
like
you
when
have
something like that rolls around, it's just natural to want to watch. So I don't, you know.
Wait, how good are they?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why.
Is Tiger gonna win 20 majors? You're just. It's like really, you just. And again, like Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, yep.
Conor McGregor. You start watching, going, dude, is he really actually the GOAT? You're just knocking people out. It's just you can't just everyone that wants to pour fire on any new. I don't know. It's just it's weird. All right. Anyway, next topic.
Well, the next topic I wanted to bring up was
No
some great fights over the weekend. Some absolutely banger fights. So the one that highlighted for me was the Max Holloway Justin Gaethje fight. That was
600 grand.
um
So I will say, Tell me what you think. I don't know if it's the way the bonuses are.
It was 300K, wasn't it? Or 600?
It
Was
was
it 600?
300K, but Max got both, so we got 600K.
Oh, yeah, good for Max.
So it's fight of the night and performance of the night. So Max got fight of the night. I have a problem with this because Gaethje got 300 grand. I don't think Gaethje did squat to deserve 300 grand. He got flatlined.
Well, I mean, he was still part of the fight of the night, though, so he still gets a bonus, right?
Was that really the fight of the night? I mean, I get the
I
ending was sick, but
I
what if
think so. I
it was a
mean,
mouth whooping? It
well,
was an
well,
ass
first of all, he
whooping all
did.
5 rounds.
I'm pretty sure he got his nose broken at the end of the first round and fought the whole thing like a dog.
Okay, so he survived.
I mean, okay, first of all, he was trading shots with him some of that time, though. Yeah, Max Hall, and
He
this is
knocked him down. I will give him that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did. I mean, for that, I mean, I would say 9 out of 10 fighters would crumble after that. I mean, the guy was fighting back. I'll give it to him. I will say this though. This is the craziest part about that whole fight that I thought. Max Holloway has had a pretty long UFC career. Has been there for a while.
32. He's
Yeah,
only 32.
and I,
Taller than me too.
the craziest thing about that is I actually think that he looks his best now than he ever has, which at this age is not very common of a thing. But I think that was the best he's ever looked, which is insane.
It's I literally this might be weird because he's probably the Volkanovski's probably the featherweight goat now, but before him it was clearly Max Holloway,
Yeah.
the featherweight goat. He was the champ for a long time, defended the belt, no one could beat him. And then Volkanovski came and and they had a close round. I think their second fight was a split decision on Fight Island, but their third fight, Max got knocked.
Yeah, he got smoked.
He didn't get knocked down, but Volk was just the levels above Max. He made, and I started to wonder if just that little stocky style of Volk just gave Max problems, and he needed to move up because he's almost 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I
massive for a 145 pounder. So he went up to lightweight before. He was gonna fight Khabib, and then he ends up fighting. He was gonna fight Khabib. I think when he was gonna fight Khabib when the bus incident happened. That was
yeah.
that was when Conor broke the bus.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be Holloway, and then that's why he ended up fighting the real estate agent. I can't remember whoever Khabib fought. I'm blanking on his name. Jesse will know.
Real estate agent.
So then Holloway fights Dustin Poirier. I think a year later at lightweight, and they have a legendary fight at 155. And that's what started that's where Poirier walks across and he's like right before the round 5
Yeah,
starts,
yeah.
sitting on his stool if you watch
Max
it,
is like,
and he notices
yeah.
he's like it was so funny. It's the greatest thing ever. It's my favorite thing. It makes me so happy just because he sees Poirier and acts like it's just, oh yeah, baby. Like I totally am with you. It just gets up and they have a legendary fight. But he's done that before too, where he gets towards the end and he's like he turns it into a street fight. He just starts wailing.
Well, also for the Gaethje fight, they did it, and this is also why I feel like Gaethje got a lot of props after getting a fucking ass whooping. Holloway's done that a lot. Like, hey, let's go to the center. A lot of people don't do that, and he fucking is banged up, and he fucking still met him in the middle. I tip my cap. I tip my cap.
Well, he has to because that's his last chance for a victory. He knows he's lost.
Yeah, but still.
Think that
Still.
he's got to come forward. I tip my cap to Max because think about guys playing with a lead and want to dance away.
That's true. Yeah.
And you've got 10 seconds left, and a guy like Gaethje.
Yeah, that's true.
Easily knock you out.
Who even I think was it Khabib said he was the hardest hitter he's ever faced ever.
Yeah, something like that. But
He hit like truck. He hit like truck.
Going what I call 1 foot in the tire on the center of the ring, and basically saying, we're gonna stand here and just swing like it's a street fight because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's strategies out the window, and for Max to be up 4 rounds to 0 and give him that, knowing the fight's 10 seconds away from being like the most dominant.
Well, I'm pretty sure scorecard wise, I think Gaethje had round 1, I think, or 2.
No,
I thought he did.
no,
Significant strikes and wise, I thought he had one of them.
I don't think he had squat. And give him a shot. It takes 10 seconds to say you can knock me out right here, and just.
And he knocked him out with 1 second left.
And that photo of him with Gaethje laying there flatlined and Max just
That's sick. That's
that was, I think for me, top 5 moment of me watching the UFC.
that's up there for sure.
That is, I think it's for sure up there.
Yeah, I agree.
Connor Park and Cowboy Cerrone was one of them.
Me too. That the shoulder strikes was fucking
Yeah, that's
unbelievable.
one of them. But I can't think of. Oh, and Izzy knocking out Pereira last year. That's top 5 for me.
Dude, the funniest part was him talking shit to his kids, dude.
Oh yeah. Can we talk about that? So on the flip night, next fight, is Pereira just shaping up to be one of the greatest fighters of all time?
Yeah,
He's putting together.
he very well might be.
He was old when he came over to the UFC already, 33 in fight
Yeah.
years.
In fight years, he's already like at the end stroke of his career a little bit.
Right. And he comes over, he's already had a million kickboxing fights and
Just battered and bruised at that age.
long battered career. And he comes over to the UFC and you look at the people he's put away,
Yeah.
it's insane.
It's not a bunch of tomato cans. They're like top contenders, top title holders, like yeah.
Izzy, Jan Blachowicz, Jiri, the former champions he's gotten already, and now Jamal Hill, he's knocked out like 5 champions. He
Yeah.
didn't knock out Young, but he won the decision. But he's knocked out like 4 UFC champs
Yeah. It's that
in
and
2.5 years.
and that's one thing about Khabib that always bothered me. I know he did beat some good people, but I'm saying a lot of the times, especially in those early fights, I'm like, who the fuck is he fighting? Who is this tomato can?
Bums for
Like,
his most career.
And so before you know it, he's 15-0, and I'm like, who the fuck did he beat? I actually don't even know any of these fucking people. And
he took like at the end. Yes, he beat Conor. He beat
yes,
Gaethje,
yeah, I agree. He's a great fighter, but I'm just saying.
It took like a year. He was fighting like once a year. I'm like, dude, when you look at Pereira, who's marching up weight divisions and going and winning 2 belts.
Yeah, he's marching hand over fist through people.
Fighting 4 months apart. He got knocked out by Izzy and then went and beat Jan like 3 months later.
Yeah.
Up at 205. It's just nobody does that. So like Khabib's career is not aging well for me. He fought those,
Even when he retired, I didn't think it was that impressive. I mean,
yeah,
now is the guy a great wrestler, great strategist in the ring? Yes, I think he's great. But like I just don't think he's the GOAT like everyone talks about. Like I just don't think he is. I think that he quit prematurely, and with the addition of fighting fucking mostly bums in terms of professional fighting and high level, bums, most of them. And it's like, it doesn't make sense. It's a perfect example because then you see Pereira knocking these fucking top tier guys hand over fist. That, in my opinion, is like a GOAT talk question versus a guy who has fought a bunch of okay fighters and knocked them out. Like, oh, I'm so tough. Yeah, you are, but like, you're not just piling through top contenders like Pereira is or something like that. You're just not doing it.
I really wish Pereira, and Pereira doesn't have great wrestling because he's a kickboxer.
No, he doesn't.
So Jan Blachowicz, had some success on the ground, but nobody's taking him to the ground. It's just he's mauling people on the feet.
Yeah, they're too battered to get him on the fucking ground once they try.
And like Jamal Hill just got obliterated. And if Pereira's serious, he's so big, he could go up to heavyweight. No problem.
Probably
could. And Jesse, and I get Jesse's point. If these guys wrestle him at heavyweight like Tom Aspinall, or some of the
I like him, by the way. I like Aspinall.
I like him too. But he's not eating that left hand. He's going to sleep. He's going to sleep if Pereira gets that left hook on him, like everyone else is.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Forget weight class,
dude.
Put Izzy out. Izzy's actually probably the only one who's took it better than anyone.
Didn't his punch force like beat like one of the
Francis?
It beat Francis. It beat Francis.
It almost doubled Francis.
Yeah, and Francis had it was a Guinness World Record that Francis had.
Yes. He's got freak power.
Yeah.
In his hands. So don't talk to me about weight class. Tom Aspinall gets one of those on the chin, he's gonna be out cold. And
his mouthpiece is in the nosebleed section.
Right, and he's waking up going, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, I agree. Like when I saw that, when I saw that, video, and then I'm reflecting on all these knockouts that he's had. I'm like, it makes so much sense how like even in some of those fights when he was kind of against the fence, he was kind of taking shots. He connects with one and it just stops him in their tracks. It makes complete sense.
Jamal Hill, he didn't even land cleanly. It looked like he grazed his face.
Yeah, it wasn't
And
flush.
Jamal
It
Hill
wasn't
just
flush.
Jury was pressuring him. If you remember Pereira's last fight, and he just gets him once, and Yuri just goes, the Viking that he is, just goes flat on his ass.
Does he not move slow as fuck, or is that just me?
Yuri.
It looks he looks like he's stuck in the mud maybe. That's what he looks like. He looks like and he's like, and then he fights like, and he puts his hands down. And he goes,
I know when he's
dude. I was watching the fight because I put a bet on him, so that's why I was watching so closely. And so he sits there, and he's going like this, and the guy's trying to get around. He's like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I wish Pereira was younger because I feel like, he's like 36. He's not gonna be around much longer. There's no way.
Nah, no way.
And I feel he's so freaking special just because
Yeah.
of his.
Like, imagine if they got a hold of him when he's 28 or 29 or.
Right.
Just,
Yeah. And I just, oh man, he's a special fighter. Because everyone thinks they're just gonna wrestle him. It's kind of like Connor. Connor never had great wrestling. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
take him down. Fight's over.
Yeah.
And he's just starching you left.
Yeah,
and
look what
right.
happened to Chad Mendez. And Chad Mendez is a dog of a wrestler who I would be, if I'm a fighter, I'm very scared for him to get me to the ground. And he definitely got it a couple times, but wasn't enough to fucking. He couldn't. Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, he made Eddie Alvarez look like a child.
Stuffed
That's what with an old man. I've been beating these guys up for a long time, and he's right. He did. He beat the fuck out of him.
He was, and Eddie at the time was probably the best wrestler outside of Khabib in the UFC.
Yeah,
at that weight class.
And Eddie Alvarez was up there at the time. He was very much up there. He was.
That's Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah. The funniest part about that was Eddie Alvarez. When they did that interview before the Conor fight, and he's like, I feel like I'm about to tell the world like Santa's not real and stuff like that to expose Conor for not the great fighter he is, and then just gets, and it wasn't, he didn't just get beat, he got smoked, wasn't even close.
Yeah, I mean, because you try to rush. I mean, look at Sterling. Sterling thinks he's gonna wrestle Sugar, and
Sugar,
and Sugar stands back there and pops him once in the
yeah.
head, and his belt's now on Sugar's waist. So I just, these guys that just think you can just rush and, guess what you're doing? Guess what someone's doing to Pereira? Or guess what Pereira's doing to them if he tries that?
Yeah, it's all part of the plan until you get one of those in the chin. You're like, oh fuck, I can't do that.
And he's just what he touches dies, and that used to be what happened with Conor's left hand.
Yeah, I agree.
Remember Dustin Poirier was on the receiving end of one of those in their younger days.
Yeah. And when he had the fucking little half man bun at the top. Yeah. Oh, fucking I.
But that was an exciting.
It was a great set of fights. I was really happy about it, honestly. And like I actually sat down and watched the whole fucking thing. And Holly Holm got battered.
Two things would have made it perfect if Holly Holm would have put up a better fight.
I know. I was hoping she would, but.
I thought maybe the weight, because Kayla Harrison was cutting so much weight, I thought maybe that would help Holly, but it didn't.
Well, pretty early on, I'm like, oh yeah, Holly Holm's fucked.
Run me that Kayla Harrison Nunes fight. Though.
Yeah, run me that. Yeah.
Because she's gonna be interested. Nunes is. She's coming back for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Second fight. So I was disappointed by that one. The other one that would have made it perfect, because I disagreed with the decision. I thought Charles Oliveira won that fight.
Dude, you want to hear something crazy about that? Okay, so when he has him, he has him in the lock. I'm like, this is it, and he somehow slipped out of it. I had a bet for that round submission win by Oliveira, and the odds were very good, by the way. And I'm sitting there jumping around at the TV for that specific round, because if you bet this. If you bet the right round and a submission, the odds, it's ridiculous. So I'm screaming like, oh my god, I'm like, he has it. And then because I had a bet for him to win by submission at any round, but I had another bet for him to win in that early round when he had him in the choke in the first. I'm saying, but at the end, he has him like this, and then Alvarez like, and then fucking puts his tongue out in the camera. I'm like, choke him out, and then somehow he didn't get it. I don't understand how twice. The first one was probably I don't think the second one was as close, but the first one, I'm like, he has him. He has him. How many times have we seen Charles Oliveira, the rat he is, jump on somebody and choke him out when you didn't expect him to? That's his bread and butter. That's literally his bread and butter.
Even though he didn't get the submissions, how did Armand win that fight?
I don't know.
He didn't.
I didn't think he won either.
He won one round.
Yeah.
But Charles, I mean, how does he win either of those rounds where he's getting choked out?
Yeah, but I mean, those rounds when he's choking him out on the ground, I mean, he's not getting extra points for that. I mean,
right. It's not like he's punching Charles and getting
Yeah.
damaged. It's like Charles literally ends up with dominant position trying to choke him out. Yes, he didn't tap, but does that not factor into the decision?
no, it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
It has to a little bit.
I don't think so.
How does Armand win the fight? What is he by not tapping?
Great question. I'm saying, but like outside from the takedown, you don't get extra points because you have him in a hold, and if you didn't get him, it
I
doesn't.
think you get submission attempts. Yeah, I think you get submission attempts, like actual.
Well,
I'll have to
they weren't counting it, I guess. But yeah, I thought, yeah, I didn't see how Charles lost that, to be honest.
Charles won that fight, and I'm pissed because Charles deserves another title shot. Like he definitely did. Like
I thought he did enough.
if he wins that fight, he's probably fighting Islam in the fall.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, Charles was a great ass champion, bro.
Great.
Freaking, he made Dustin Poirier, and remember what he did to Gaethje?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that fool.
He's a freak. He's an absolute freak.
Maybe next fight. I don't know. Max is probably going to go down to 145 and fight for the belt.
Well, Max wants to fight fucking Conor McGregor apparently after he fights Chandler.
155. You know what? How about 155 against Charles?
Yeah, that'd be good.
How about that for a fight? Can you imagine that face-off?
Oh shit.
I'd be into that.
Absolutely.
I'd be into that. Yeah.
Oh.
That's Max. He can bang with the 155ers.
Yeah, I
he's
agree.
fought Poirier in a legendary fight, and he's knocked Gaethje.
I see stiffness when I look at that 155 pound division.
Look in the wood. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'd like him staying up at 55.
I mean, speaking of which, I mean, how do we really feel about, now that it's official McGregor Chandler? I mean, here's I'll say this. I'm very nervous because of the fact I will just say this. Conor at his best. Is Michael Chandler beating him? No, never. But is Conor at his best right now? No. I'm a realist. I'm just saying he's been out. He's had multiple comeback fights. I mean, outside the science behind it of building up. You can't do it. If you do it more than once, it loses its toxicity of a comeback. It's not a comeback anymore. You're just a slow fighter who's coming back very intermittently. It just loses its potency, and it's just.
I was just about that. How like every Conor fight for the past 5 fights has been like the Sports Illustrated post or Sports Center post. Return of the Mac.
It's just like it doesn't work anymore. It's not. You can only do that like once. And the other thing I'm worried about is.
Come back to fight Poirier.
A lot of athletes, great athletes, have tried to come back. It never goes to plan, ever. I mean, Muhammad Ali tried to come back. Look what the fuck happened. Fucking not according to plan. I'm just saying, in any sport, I don't care what sport it is, it is very obvious throughout history, and it's just common knowledge that once you're out of this bubble and rotation of grind and grit and playing whatever sport you're doing, you take any time off or any gas off the pedal, the difference between you and your opponent is no longer bigger. You're just getting out. It's just going past you, and you have a very big disadvantage going back in there fighting a guy. Like if Conor now fights himself in his primetime days when he's hungry, when he's nonstop fighting. Is he beating him? No, he's not. And that's just common repetition and thing. Not to mention scar tissue buildup in the legs and the shins from kicking when you take a break that long. It's just like, and of course he's a very special occasion because he's such a special fighter and made so much money and got so big so fast. He had the luxury of taking his foot off the gas to enjoy his life, unlike some of the other fighters, because he's so rich. But at the same time, the difference between you and your opponent when they're stuck in this little bubble, grinding and hungry to beat you, and you're not. It just grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the disadvantage just grows. That's the only thing I'm worried about with Chandler, is I don't know if Connor's actually better than him right now. Is he in general at his best? Yes, 100%. But
He's definitely a more skilled fighter than Chandler.
100%.
There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. But Chandler's now proven that he can be in these wars. But he's not like Nate, where he can just get
Yeah.
survive any punch, never get knocked out. Like he can get knocked out for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But
What worries me, mostly, it'd be one thing if he just took a long layoff and got back in shape because he's taken layoffs before. But like if he just took a really long 3-year layoff, what worries me is the leg. Dude,
Yeah.
Can he kick?
I don't.
I mean, truly, because he was having issues even before the break.
Yeah.
Of like,
Even in his early days, he started to have issues with his leg.
That's why his calf went out against Poirier in the Abu Dhabi fight when his calf just exploded because he took a couple leg kicks and realized that he'd been training with the pads, and so his calf wasn't
Conditioned. It was not conditioned. Yeah.
and so he didn't do it for the third Poirier fight, the trilogy, and then his leg snapped.
Yeah.
Because he was training and breaking it over the course of his training camp. So it's like, okay, what's he gonna do this time around?
Yeah.
Not that Michael Chandler's a special kicker, but it makes me nervous that his leg's not back. No one's come back from that sort of injury,
and at least not to the way they were. Absolutely not. Never.
Right. So it's like, is Connor really gonna? And the fight that I wish it could be a legit tune-up fight against someone who's ranked top 20, top 15 fighter, but just with Connor, you can't do that because he's a main event.
Yeah.
He's the biggest star in the sport, always is. So you can't have him fight these bums. And Chandler's going to go in there and literally trying to put him away.
And like as he should. I mean, this is a huge fight for Chandler.
It makes me so nervous that it's just 3 years coming back, and he gets hit wrong.
Yeah. Not to mention
right off the bat, and say Connor gets knocked out.
Not to mention it's how long's it been since he's been battered? I'm talking like a real like that Chad Mendes fight when they were both just trading shots, getting fucked up. Could he do that right now? I don't know if he actually could do that right now. Not to mention the guy has a history in some of the fights he's lost of losing that longevity, even at his best, losing his potency and kind of not giving up, but kind of just letting off the gas pedal because he's gassed and he's taking a lot of big shots, and it's just he doesn't have the same battle harden as like some of these other guys. I don't know.
It makes me nervous. It does. It just makes me. The big thing is just. It feels like with another loss, he's done.
That's what I was just talking to someone about. I'm like, if he loses this, it's like that's it.
He says he like wants to keep fight this and that, but once you start stacking losses.
Yeah, and then what comes to mind is am I and then what comes to mind if he loses is, first of all, the one thing I think of if he loses this, sits down and thinks, it's like, hey, what else do I have to prove? You've won 2 belts in 2 different ways. You've done something no one else has done, and it's like, not only that, but also if you start stacking losses, I mean, you're gonna ruin your legacy. All the past things are gonna start to look less and less impressive, and there's just a lot of negatives with him losing and wanting to fight again. They way outweigh the positives at that point.
Right, and so that's my worry, is just that we have this big 3-year. I can't believe it's gonna be 3 years.
I know.
Since he broke his leg. The fact that we're gonna have 3 years and it could be over in 60 seconds, technically, and you're going, wow, that was really it, And
yeah.
Obviously.
On the other hand, let's say he pulls it off, and is it insane for him to then? Could you imagine this? He beats Michael Chandler, which I think everyone, at least anyone who watches UFC and knows things about UFC, knows that Conor is at a disadvantage here. I think a lot of people know that he is. I mean, he's been out of it for a long time. I mean, and it's a very important question. That is he right now, not in general, is he right now better than Michael Chandler? A lot of people have a big question mark because he's been out for so long.
Right.
And so, but let's say he pulls this out of his ass and pulls out of his sleeve of tricks and knocks him out in great fashion. What? How fucking crazy would it be if somehow he goes on a fucking run again and is fighting for a belt again? That would be history. I'm sorry. That would be history. Again, it's my name in history one more time.
It would be, and it's hard not to get excited about
It is
the
exciting.
possibility. The issue is the weight class because I don't think he wants to cut to 155 anymore.
No, I don't think so.
And so I
Well,
think
look
it's
at him.
stupid- I think it's stupid that him and Mike are fighting at 170 because say he does do that, he's not fighting for the 170 belt unless he just has a couple fights at 170 and looks amazing.
Yeah.
But so then you're talking 155 belt, and then he's got to cut weight, and how does he look after cutting weight again? And
Yeah.
what?
Not to mention, been a long time since he's done that consistently too. How's that going to affect his performance and how his body reacts? There's just a lot of variables that are question marks. That's why it's like, it's a toss-up. It's a complete fucking toss-up, in my opinion. It really is.
Yeah, I wish it was being done at 155 because I
Yeah.
think 170 favors Chandler a little bit.
I think it does. That's his I feel like that's more of his natural kind of like battle. That's his natural kind of home ground there.
And what scares me about Mike's sloppy, but I mean, dude, he almost put Poirier out in round one.
Yeah, he did.
He almost straight up knocked out Dustin Poirier in round one, and then in round three picked him up like a wrestler.
Yeah.
And threw him like no one was doing that to Poirier. Conor, was kind of getting worked by Poirier.
Yeah.
And lost his last two fights. Obviously, Poirier. I know they had the injury, obviously, but it's just Mike went in there and almost put him away in round
Yeah.
one. So, if Conor does spark him, I think you look at an Oliveira fight. I think you look at a Dustin Poirier
Yeah.
number 4.
Yeah.
If Dustin's even still fighting after, let's say Islam beats him, what's Dustin gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you look at Conor at 170 against someone at 170. I don't know. It's tough because can't throw him unless Nate Diaz. They want to do the trilogy at 170.
There's been talks of that. There's been talks.
Yeah, I think that's what might happen if Conor loses. I think that's the one possibility because they'll always have the Nate fight that people will get excited for.
Yeah, and which will sell. I mean, look at the past and how those trilogies. I mean, I think anyone who watches UFC, the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor is up there in their favorite rivalries ever.
Yeah. So I think if Conor loses, it's possible that he just looks to the Nate fight as like one last shot, or he rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, or at the very least has one last really big event that at least both of them, like Nate and him, could shake hands after. Wow, this has been like our whole career rivalry thing. At least we can finish off that. I mean, yeah, but if he loses, I don't. There's just the only thing worried about is that he has so much to lose in this fight, and Michael Chandler has so much to gain.
Right.
And for Michael Chandler, this is the heart eyes emoji for him. This is just a big whoa. Look at this opportunity. I have a chance to do something fucking huge. Knock out a guy who has been one of the best in the game historically, and I mean that would be a huge tag on Michael Chandler's career forever.
Right.
Regardless of what shape Conor's in or how good he is compared to what he was earlier. Regardless, it's huge for Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
It's a lot's at stake for sure.
And there's so many variables stacked against Conor. But at the same time, when I think about all this, every time I have a conversation with this person, one of us always says, I'm like, but it is Conor McGregor. Anything can fucking happen. I mean, the guy is shocked many times before. But does he still have it in him to take these fights in deep water? Like Michael Chandler will most likely try to do, especially because he knows he's been out. And he knows he's been known to give up a little bit, especially when he's gassed. Michael Chandler's going to try to drag him in deep water. If it doesn't end early, that longevity part is what Chandler's probably going to end up aiming for is taking him in deep water, taking him late in fights, because even someone who is great at stamina and has great cardio, even at those people that are cardio freaks with breaks, don't stand a chance taking long fights like that. It doesn't even matter, and Connor's never been a cardio freak, so.
Right.
And he's been out for a long time, so it's just it's a lot of there's a lot of question marks in terms of how he should approach this, or how, I mean, Michael Chandler, pick your poison how we can approach this. In my opinion, there's a lot of ways that he.
Chandler's a wrestler background,
Yeah.
so he's like, okay, I can wrestle at any point.
I mean, and also because Connor's been out for so long, there's a lot of weaknesses to find. If he could just get him on the ground, that's fucking it. And I honestly, I don't think that's far off to say. If he gets a dominant position on the ground, yeah, that might be it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is just, can he take a straight up leg kick right on that shin and just be fine? Like, it just that kind of stuff worries me because it's just.
I mean, I'm hoping we see Connor start switching stances up. I mean, and mixing it up early. That's what I'm hoping to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. A lot at stake.
Yeah.
Because like it's the last.
Because everyone's been out. Because like we always have like a bunch of people at our house with a Connor fight. Ask, "Oh, you excited? You excited?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm fucking nervous."
I know. I was so nervous before the Cerrone fight.
Me too. And I'm actually kind of dreading the fight to come, because I know what happens if he loses. Like, in terms of even if he wants to fight one more Nate Diaz, I'm saying, but as a total in his career in entirety, its entirety of like runs and shit is over if he loses it. It's over.
Right. The last spark put out.
Yeah, that's it, you know.
I remember feeling the same way about the Cerrone fight.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he'd taken a year off. Khabib had just beat him. I think he had fake retired, you know, and just it felt like if he lost to Cerrone,
my opinion exactly. I'm like, that's it if he loses to Cerrone.
And he comes back out. Oh.
And then these little mouthy fools can get it. Even that one at the desk. Oh.
Yeah. And that was what all of a sudden excited me, because I was just like, holy shit, Connor's back.
Yeah.
Like, he just owning the microphone, you know. Jorge Masvidal in the crowd, Kamaru Usman, and he's just, I feel really good at this weight.
Dude, Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking stupid.
That's why that was top 5 UFC film for me, because I was just like,
I was so stoked, dude. I was so stoked.
And then COVID. Otherwise, he's probably fighting 4 times in 2020. He was like ready for a season, is what he was calling it.
Yeah.
He said he was going to fight 4 times in 2020, and just the fact that then COVID, and so he sit down for another year before he fights Dustin, loses, and then the whole shit's screwed up.
Yeah, and now he's in like a make or break fight, basically, against a very good fighter. So it's like,
right.
You know,
that's what I mean. It's not a tune-up, you know.
And even at his best, guys at this level, if one catches the other with the right hit, and he can knock the other out. So it's like, it's just, and he's not at his best. So it's like, it's a fucking toss-up. Well,
maybe he should fight Max Holloway if he wins.
That's what Max talked about it. He was like, I want to fight Connor. That'd be sick.
BMF belt.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Because then you could do it at one. Well, no, Max isn't going up to 170.
No, but. Well, we're at an hour.
All right.
Hey, and the good news is we didn't even cover everything we need to cover. We have a lot more room to cover too, and that was.
We got to get another episode on maybe Saturday. I don't know.
Yeah, we probably should get another one, because there's a lot to cover, especially with, I think, the Texans. We're looking at something very interesting going on here.
We are. How about Bill Belichick going to be on Pat McAfee's draft special show? Belichick's going to be amazing on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have you work on some clips tomorrow, and
yeah, we'll get something going. But yeah, good. It's good to be back, Tris. Good to be back.
It's good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well.
All right, good to see you too. Yeah, we could try to get together before next week and try to do another one or something. So.
Yeah, you let me know your schedule there, pal.
All right. Well, sounds like a plan.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right, later.